welcome to all of you. Good afternoon. My name is 𝘗𝘢𝘕. I'm professor for forest resource economics at 𝘱𝘢𝘷𝘦𝘳𝘴𝘪𝘈 University for Sustainable Development. And before I dive into my study program, maybe I can link up to what Diego just said. 𝘱𝘱𝘷𝘦 University is an applied science university, professionalized in, let's say, green developments. It comes from a forestry tradition dating back to 1830 with the first study programs on forestry. And now we have extended our portfolio. You can study organic agriculture, landscape planning, nature conservation, but also sustainable tourism and sustainable business. I'm in forestry, and we are one of the few universities in a state, the state of Brandenburg, that is currently developing a PhD program. So when you think of the differences between universities and applied science universities, I think somewhere next year we will have the opportunity also to supervise PhD students in a nice infrastructure. The good thing in 𝘱𝘱𝘕 is, besides the university, that we are very close to Berlin. We are located here in the countryside, basically in the forest. It's a small city, but lovely, nice surrounding. And in 30 minutes, you are in the center of Berlin. And I think we really profitate from this vicinity. All right, this for the introduction. And now let's talk about the study program I'm heading. And I don't know, Diego, just quick check. Can you read? Can you see my slides? Is that okay?
Yes, all good.
Okay, perfect. So the name, it's a forestry system transformation. So as it's not a very self-explaining title, but as you might guess, it is about forestry. And basically, it's not only about forestry, but it is about the connection between forests and people. And as some of you might know, forests do have various functions. Of course, they have an economic function to provide us with timber and non-timber forest products, but they also have a very important ecological functions when it comes to ecosystem processes, when it comes to habitat for biodiversity, when it comes to carbon sequestration. But they also have a social function. There are people who make their living out of forests, but there are also many people who like to go and have a walk, have some spiritual inspiration in the forest and so on. And so we can understand forests as a place that provide us humans or humanity with a full range of functions and what we call different ecosystem services, where we gain some benefits and that contribute to our well-being. Forests, as the world in general and its ecosystems, are touched hard in the past decades. There's a range of challenges we have to deal with. Among them is climate change, is the loss of biodiversity. It's much about the degradation of ecosystems that requires all different parts of society to be very careful in the way how we manage and how we household with our natural resources, and to adjust our management systems towards more sustainable uses of these resources. And as a point of departure for the FST study program, we asked the question, well, what needs to be changed when we take the societal demands for the right range of forest ecosystem services seriously? I mean, we have a full variety of societal requests, of policy requests about the functions of forest. Now it's debated forests as a sink for carbon. It's debated forests as the most important ecosystem for biodiversity conservation. We have now a big debate in post-COVID times that it's important to go to the forest for health recovery and for therapeutic resources. And there are requests, of course, also to substitute construction material that is non-sustainable with wood. And so all these kind of demands are coming up And we need to think, okay, how can we satisfy these demands? And that's not so easy because we have quite some challenges to deal with. One is that we talk about very diverse forest ecosystems here in Eberswalde, in Germany, in Europe, and I guess in whatever country you are from. We talk about a very large diversity of these natural settings with different potentials to provide these services. We talk about very diverse forest management systems and institutions, so different policies. And we talk about a growing societal demand for different forest ecosystem services, as I just said. And these are very dynamic. These are changing every few years of, why and for what we consider forests being important. And at the same time, we have a lack of knowledge, like the connection between a forest function and an ecosystem service and how this somehow contributes concretely to a quality of life or our well-being is sometimes not that much of a clear-cut case. However, when we look around, we can see worldwide that we find many good examples where these different types of forest ecosystem services are managed quite successfully and sustainably. But often these are running very local and in niches. And our idea is that we want to understand these and want to learn from these. So what is FST about? Basically, it's about novel forest management and planning approaches, how to foster sustainable forest management. It's about new policy and business models for the provision of forest ecosystem services. As you might know, we have a market for timber, but when it comes to biodiversity, for example, or landscape aesthetics, we do not have a market, right? It's very difficult to assign values to this. And the question is, okay, how can we bring also these services more into decision-making focus? It's about how can we create possibilities for innovation and for transformation of such forestry systems, and kind of cross-cutting. It's about methods for dealing with these diverse interests we or society have. How can we deal with conflicts? How can we identify trade-offs when it comes to policy and management decisions? If you want, this slide shows you the content of the study program. In the core, we always focus on forestry systems, and we understand these forestry systems as coupled or interlinked social ecological systems. So it's not only the forest, but it's forest and people, and with very different interconnections. And then we analyze these forestry systems from different perspectives. We take a perspective of forest ecosystems and management. If you want, it's more natural sciences and planning focus. We have a look from an economic perspective. So how can we change economic reference frames? How can we change valuation approaches? We have a perspective of governance and policy. And we have a perspectives of innovation and transformation. And we take a look at these forestry systems over time. And now if you keep that picture in mind, and what we see here is the structure of the study program of the first 2 semesters. Basically, we see here the different colors represent the different perspectives: forest resource management, economics, policy, and innovation. And this first column is the first semester, and the second column is the second semester. And what we basically do is we have block seminars where, for example, the first 3 weeks, you get an introduction and we work on different forest management approaches in order to understand the status quo, right? So what strategic silvicultural planning and management approaches are existing? This is followed by a class on economics, which is labeled Rethinking Environmental Economics, where we learn about different economic schools, different concepts, the ecosystem service concept, and different valuation approaches, followed by governance module, and so on. So basically, first semester is about understanding the status quo. Why do we manage forests as we do right now, from a management perspective, economics perspective, policy perspective? And in the second semester, basically, we have a forward-looking approach. asking, okay, how can we change the system? What needs to be changed when we think of forest management? What needs to be changed when we think of economic reference? What needs to be changed when we think of a policy setting, or what's the role of innovation and transformation strategies? And the light color ones, it's just for you, not that you need to understand everything, but these are elective modules that allow you to have a specialization direction. Now, the second year, you are much more free. So the first year, it's, module after module. You get the full load, let's say, of theoretical concepts and practical approaches. And in the second year, you are much more free. Like the third semester, you are supposed to do a project semester or a research project that can be a classic internship with an administration, a ministry, or a firm, a company, or an NGO, where we prepare you with help of a module on project management and communication. And in the fourth semester, you're expected to write your master thesis, accompanied by a master thesis colloquium. In a nutshell, it is a consecutive master program for graduates that have or that seek a focus on forestry and natural resource management. And for you, a requirement is that you do need to have a bachelor degree in either forestry or agriculture or environmental sciences. So somehow you need to bring some knowledge on natural resource management with you. And we build on this knowledge, and then we sharpen a socioeconomic and systems-based focus by highlighting and using much inter- and transdisciplinary approaches. We start every winter semester, so on an annual turn. The duration of the master is 4 semesters. So first 2 semesters are modules, third one project, fourth one is master thesis, with an equivalent to 120 ECTS credits. We have 28 study places, which is also very particular with us. We are small classes, so we are kind of close to each other, or you are close to the professors. And the study program is entirely in English, and that is another precondition for you. You need an English B2 certificate. If you don't have it now or at the moment when you start, you can do it at our university. You might ask, okay, what can I do with such kind of a master program? Basically, what we see from our graduates, they are very well demanded on the market because they are released to a job market that is currently developing. We talk about job market in the realm of bioeconomy, in the realm of sustainable natural resource management, in the realm of circular economy. So basically, you become specialized and trained to act on the science policy and also the science business interface. So companies in the area of bioeconomy, the new emerging carbon market, but also on health approaches. Of course, you are very suitable for the forestry and timber processing industry on national and international level. We have, I would say, 3/4 of our students are international. Policy consultancy, also in international organizations and administration. You could work in inter and national certification agencies. Classically, in the forestry sector, it's the PFC or the FSC logo, but you can also enter forestry administration. We are eligible for this, but for this, at least in Germany, you need to have a bachelor degree in forestry. If you want, or if you become interested and say, maybe this is something I could consider more, I invite you to take a look on our webpage. We also have flyers you can download on forestry system transformation. And here are just some impressions. Of course, what I talked about was sounding a little bit dry, much in the classroom, but we actually go quite also a lot outside. We go on field trips, not every day, but from time to time. to see practice examples of, very promising forest management approaches. Here on the upright, we profited from Berlin, where much policy making is taking place. This one was the release of Germany's biodiversity strategy. We have a range of practice partners, also partner university around the globe. Yes, and I think students enjoy being with us, enjoy 𝘱𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝑆𝑤𝑎𝑙𝑑𝑒, enjoy the study program. And we are looking forward to welcoming you at HNE and to the FST study program.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the presentation. Also nailed on time. Perfect. 15 minutes. So some questions, some good questions. Before I acknowledge the ones that are still here, that don't worry, I didn't forget any of you. I just thought it was better to wait for that. A couple of questions about the application process. So it's my understanding that if if you don't have a German degree, a German certificate, you apply via 𝑈NI-Assist. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes. So you need to comply with the deadlines of 𝑈NI-Assist. And then I think you get noticed end of May, or I think the deadline is end of May. Sometimes it's mid-June. And then you need to be quick. Then it's always, getting a visa appointment and everything. But it's for internationals outside Europe students, it's 𝑈NI-Assist, yes.
However, if you're already in Germany and you have your degree from another German university or whatever, then you apply via the portal.
Via the portal, and also until I think it's mid-September or so. So the deadline is quite long.
Perfect. Yeah. So just on that note, for some people were asking here, if you are an international student and you need to apply for 𝑈NI-Assist, as I said before, maybe go to our website and read a little bit about 𝑈NI-Assist. If you want, come to one of our webinars about 𝑈NI-Assist. It's really not the end of the world. It's quite simple. You pay, if I'm not mistaken, 75 euros for application, and then I think 10 euros for any other application. And the main thing about 𝑈NI-Assist is you do that and it organizes all your documents. The only downside, you have to plan. Just plan ahead, and then you don't miss any deadlines. But other than that, it's easy, it's great, it can be actually quite helpful for you. Okay, perfect. Having said that, another question here that appeared, and I think someone else also asked, was about the background. I know you had a slide there about what is the background knowledge you have to have. So someone here, for example, has a background in chemistry. Is that something that they could still apply? It depends on the transcripts, maybe?
Yes. I mean, the main selection criteria is you need to have a background in, let's say, natural resource management. Okay. And that is a term that is not so clear-cut defined. So ideally, you have a background in agriculture, in forestry, in environmental sciences, environmental management, but usually we always have students who come from biology, who come from chemistry, and also in these study programs, sometimes you have classes on natural resource management or water management, or I don't know, nutrient flow in whatever environmental media. So in these cases, we have a look on the courses you had, and when we have the impression, okay, so let's say the environmental sciences field, it's not too far away from you. Usually we are quite generous in accepting you. It's more difficult when you have a background in philosophy, right? Or in educational sciences. Then it really depends. And when we have the impression there's a high pressure on applications, we are a bit more strict. But for the moment, we are quite open to this. And also we don't have a numerus clausus now in the moment, because we are kind of full, like still a little bit varying. Often we are full, but there's no numerus clausus yet.
Okay,
and
good.
That is quite an advantage for you.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Absolutely. Also on that note, I'm sorry, I hope I don't butcher your name here, 𝘱𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝑆. You had a question here about which sector to complete your PhD. It seems this is a more of broader question, not necessarily for this topic, but I just want to point it out that a background in chemistry and a background in nuclear engineering, I would assume that also fits the program, right? As long as you can show a little bit of this background in forestry management or sustainability management or anything on that note, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Someone here asks about career opportunities. You did talk about career opportunities. However, I guess a couple of questions that you can derive from this one. One is, do you have examples from graduates? Where are they now? And another one that I think is interesting, you mentioned how strong this program is in the policy part, right?
Right.
And I know that internationals, when they come here to Europe, especially in Germany, I'd say, the policy world can be very insular here in Germany. How it is for international students, how did they manage to navigate this complicated job-seeking world after the...
Yes, these are good questions. I mean, it is a study program where you get a lot of diverse knowledge. So your field of work, it's also not clearly defined. It's not clear that you become a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, but it's a bit more open. And we see this as an advantage. Like we have graduates that do find jobs in ministries and different administrations in Germany, but we also have quite a number of students who come already from a working context and who were sent by ministries, by policymakers to complete their studies and then to go back. We have quite a number of graduates who find jobs in these newly emerging markets. Like I mentioned, the voluntary carbon market. So in Germany, but also worldwide, there are a lot of startup firms now who develop standards. So how to measure carbon, how to develop certificates, how to set up trading platforms. They are part in this. We have also now a number of students who proceed their academic career and who go for a PhD. So far, not at 𝘗𝘓𝘳, because there was not the possibility for first supervision that will come next year, but who go to other universities. Also in Berlin, of course, you need to look for counterpart, and we are experienced in doing this, and we have collaboration. But this is just some examples. So, I mean, emerging markets, firms, companies, also administration, and we also have students who go to the forestry world and who enter forestry administration. So it's really colorful, but they're not for long searching.
Perfect. Great answer. Yeah, I'd also like to point out, 𝘱𝑢𝑙𝑡𝑒, like, as you said, is not far from Berlin. And if there's one city that is famous for startups right now in Germany, it's Berlin. You can find a lot of people, a lot of smart people working on things that you didn't even know that was happening, right? And I'm sure it's the same for this sector. I guess one last question here, which I think really goes what we were talking before, but I have someone here, Isato, degree in communication, however, plenty of experience in natural resource management with the Department of Forest and Ministry of Environment of Gambia. I'm assuming that's a very qualified person to apply.
Absolutely qualified. Gambia, when I think back, I think we did not have student from Gambia. But, and I mentioned this also, we are extremely international. Like when I think of this batch now, we are full, 28 students, and maybe a handful of them are Germans. And all the others are from other contexts. And for example, every year we have a group from Ghana, as we have a collaboration with universities there. We have also students from more Northern Africa, from Egypt. For example, Gambia is new, and let's see. Yeah, you are welcome.
Oh, Isato, maybe, yeah, maybe you'll soon be there. I wish you good luck. Yeah, not that many questions, but I would say great questions. I thank you, all of you that came here today.